gives me immense pleasure to introduce our speaker for today. Anil Goteti is founder and CEO of Scapia, a travel fintech redefining travel for young Indian travelers. Under his leadership, Scapia has built a unique platform that blends financial products and travel services through a co-branded credit card with Federal Bank, empowering users to unlock travel with purpose, value, and seamless experiences. Supported by top investors including Peak XV and Elevation Capital, Scapia is driving meaningful change in how India's youth experience travel. If you didn't know Scapia already, Scapia is a travel fintech company driven by belief that travel enriches lives and connects the world. Through its co-branded credit card offered in partnership with Federal Bank, Scapia delivers seamless financial products and comprehensive travel services. Accepted in India and over 150 countries, the card grants users zero joining and annual fees, zero forex markup, unlimited domestic lounge access on minimum spend, and a generous 10% reward on all transactions minted as Scapia coins. And thank you so much for joining us today. And we'll be doing a fireside chat format for this session.
Thanks for having me. I see an Elevation T-shirt somewhere here. Did you work at Elevation? Oh, you connected an event. Okay, got it. Elevation is one of our investors, so I just happened to see the logo.
To start off, so if you didn't know, Anil is from Saras. He is the batch of 2002, graduation batch of 2002, electrical
That's
engineering.
right. Yeah.
So, when you think back to your Saraswati days, was there a moment or a habit you picked up at IITM that you still carry into boardrooms and founders' life?
I saw the question. I was not sure. I carried something from IIT into the boardrooms, uh, but look, I think one of the things that really matter in IIT is actually the relationships and laying a lot of the foundations that actually help you lay long term in your career. I uh, I took up a job in engineering right after IIT, so a lot of the skills that you learned in IIT actually, I mean, it was relevant for me for the first 4 or 5 years, but after that, I had nothing to do with the engineering side of things. At least the electrical engineering part of it. Now I build products at scale, and I deal with a lot of computer science engineers. But I joke with them saying, "You guys are not engineers. That's why you're called computer science and engineer. Uh, the real engineers are the other engineers." But I think one of the things that really stayed with me when I first came to IIT was just the sheer talent pool. I mean, the peer group defines IIT more than anything else. Of course, the professor quality and everything, but uh, getting into IIT itself, the entrance exam, everything, I think just the the criteria of selection itself brings a peer group that is so outstanding. One of the first things that you notice in such a thing after people finish their entrance exam and come into the hostels and industry is some of them start burning out as soon as they enter in the first year or second year. Actually, more in the first year itself. So that in the first year in Saras, I probably learned table tennis more than anything else. I remember I used to have thermodynamics classes at 8 a.m., but I used to play TD till 2, 3 a.m. Uh, but I think when this is the first year when you're independent, you're moving from home, you're spending time away from parents, like you're redefining your life in a certain way. So the first year was quite defining in terms of building a lot of those relationships. For me, it was about picking up new friends, but it was also a lot of distraction and then seeing how people were burning out. And I think probably after the first year, I figured out how to pace myself and play the longer game rather than burning myself out. I would say even now, actually, a lot of people enter corporate life, and then after that, after some time, they're like, I'm done. But to be able to sustain the energy and then be able to do it for a longer time is actually the hardest skill. uh, I think just going through those rigorous trainings, going through IIT, going through a lot of that kind of stuff, just sets you up well for life. I'm not sure I carry something particular to the boardroom, but I would say resilience and being able to sustain things. Yeah, yeah.
So you've lived three very different lives before Scapia: consulting at McKinsey, tech at Qualcomm, scale at Flipkart. If you had to describe what each of these places hardwired into you, what would what would those one-liners be?
Yeah. Just for context, after I studied in IIT, I went to the US. I did my masters, and then I worked in Qualcomm. How many of you know Qualcomm here? Yeah. Okay, quite a few. Good to know. Uh, so yeah, I did communications. Any of you in electrical here? Yeah. One. Okay. Oh, one more. He's like, raise your hand. You're also electrical. Yeah, I did communications engineering, and my advisor was Dr. Giridhar. I think he's still there. Last year when I came, he was there. First job I did was engineering. I actually worked on 3G products before the world knew 3G. In fact, in my last year in Qualcomm, the chip that I worked on went into the first iPhone as the 3G chip that would make the calls. So the first 5 years was just a lot of engineering at Qualcomm. There, what I really learned was just work ethic. I think moving into the professional world, the amount of responsibility and empowerment you get um, as a kid in that company that I got, I mean, it was just a lot of learning for me. In fact, one of my first managers was also IIT Madras. I was working in the US. I went to do my master's, and then after that, I joined Qualcomm in the US in the Bay Area. And my manager was, I think, 1991 IIT Madras, I think, if I'm not wrong. And then he did a PhD, and then he joined Qualcomm. Um, I remember the amount of responsibility he gave me, and he just, I was not sure what I was doing, but he knew that I was capable, and he just said, I'm sure you can go for it. You can do this, you can do that. I was a systems engineer. I think what I learned there as a leader was how to empower people, how to trust them, what the work ethic is. That was my Qualcomm journey. Um, then I did my MBA, and then I joined McKinsey and Company. I don't know if people know McKinsey and Company. It's a consulting firm. There I worked on all sorts of problems in various industries, oil and gas, chemical, uh, things which were not my wheelhouse at all. But what I learned there was, I would say, um, good problem solving and strategy, but more importantly, the ability to communicate crisply, talk in the boardroom, be able to deal with executives, deal with egos of executives. I remember I walked into an oil company. I don't know, maybe 27, 28 or something like that. Something in the rough age, 30 maybe. And this gentleman was 58, 59. He was the next to this, is reporting to the CEO. I walk into his cabin. I was sent to discuss something with him. And then, he sits back in the chair, and then he says, what do you know about oil refineries to come and advise me? I said, sir, I don't know anything, but I'm just here to ask you a few questions so that I learn, and then, we'll discuss and come back if there's any opportunities. Then he rolls back again and he says, I think my son is older than you. Uh, I mean, just establishing power play, right? So, but that's what you learn to deal with in a company like that, to be able to work with people who are very, very senior, but to be able to influence them and, I would say, drive whatever agenda you have. That was a short stint. Then after that, I spent almost 9 years at Flipkart. I joined Flipkart when it was very early. I joined in 2012, and then left in the pandemic in late 2020. Um, there, I would say that was where my consumer internet upbringing was largely. There was a professional I might have grown earlier, but how to build a company, how to build things for internet, how do we build for India. That company taught me these functional skills, but more importantly, what it taught me was how to think big, how to be audacious, how to um, yeah, how to be ambitious. I think those are probably my takeaways from Flipkart. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So at Flipkart, you were in the thick of India's e-commerce revolution. Can you take us inside one defining decision or crisis you navigated that showed you how big companies are, actually built?
Look, when you go through a growth stage company like Flipkart, you go through a lot of learnings. You go through ups and downs. You see crisis very often. So there's, in fact, the most learnings you get is when the chips are down and you're not doing well as a company. When things are going really really well, a lot of things get hidden under the blanket, right? So I remember in 2015, 2016, Flipkart was losing a lot of market share to Amazon at that time. Amazon came in maybe a couple of years ago, and I would say a few self goals by Flipkart that led to a situation where Flipkart was losing market share. But I would say that 1 year, that that crisis of losing share, and just cleaning up a lot of the things that were actually not going well, improving the customer experience, improving the seller experience, improving the profitability, going through the fundraise at that time to make sure the company was in good shape. Um, work. A lot of people were leaving the company, but despite that, holding your teams together, being with working with other leaders, and then being able to bring back the company in a stronger way. I would say that that's probably the most cherishing and probably the most important moments from a learning perspective for me. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we're going to be moving on to the KPI segment of it very
Sure.
soon. So before we move on to that, what was the spark or the itch that made you say, "I've learned enough here, and it's time to build something of my own"?
Yeah. Look, I always thought I'll start a company. In fact, when I was in IIT, I started a firm with a few of my friends. It was the Y2K time frame. Many of you may not have been born actually. This was like 2000, 2001. I assume many of you are probably 2003, 4 maybe. I don't know. Like yeah, maybe later. But yeah, I I've always been interested in starting companies, but I just thought I'll spend a few years, couple of years at Flipkart, and then uh, start my own company. But the journey was so good, the learning was so good. I was there for 8, 9 years, and I was just enjoying myself. But uh, right before the pandemic started, actually, is when maybe 2019, end of 2019, December, January is when I made up my mind that I'm going to be an entrepreneur now. If I don't leave now, I will not start up because it was the learning was there, but it was starting to slow down for me personally. But more importantly, I was getting into a crucial stage where if I had to take the next step within Flipkart, then I would have had to spend 5 more years or a bit more time. But I thought this was the time to just go for it and swing for the fences rather than continuing my journey at Flipkart. So yeah, that's when I took the decision. Yeah.
Okay. So travel plus fintech is not the most obvious combination. So what was the blank space you saw that others
Yeah.
didn't at that
Yeah.
point of time?
How many of you know about Scapia? Have you heard of Scapia? Like yeah, few of you. Yeah. I think a lot of you are probably not looking for credit cards yet, but very soon in a few years you will. In 2 3 years. Um, See, when I was starting up, I was just looking for um, what is it that Indians will spend on in the next 15, 20 years, and what is it that's going to rise as an industry, right? When Indians or anybody in the world, right? If you look at a consumer, when you look for consumer insights before you can start a business, you need to figure out what are the large trends that will define what your company is going to look like. What are the tailwinds, and hence, what do you go after, right? I was very clear that in the next 20 years, when India has disposable income, they'll do two things. any guesses? Where will they spend money on if people have money? Sorry, education is not when you have extra money. It's when you have disposable income, you don't spend more money on education. You start to have fun with it. Functions and marriages only once in your life, but peop- people spend on luxurious experiences. Right? People spend on this. When you have disposable income, what do you do every year, every 6 months? You like to travel. There's another category where people spend money on. It's like luxury retail, right? You buy high-end clothes, or you'll buy the latest iPhone. You'll go stand in the line and get your iPhone 17 Pro, whatever. Um, but I didn't want to do retail after so many years of Flipkart. I really wanted to get into travel. Personally, I'm a traveler. I really enjoy traveling. I thought, okay, let me build for travel in India. Uh, so, but I wanted to make travel more accessible, uh, cheaper for people to be able to travel, but also give them perks and benefits while they travel, which is why we launched a card where you keep using the card everywhere, and then you can collect loyalty points. We call it Scapia points. You collect the Scapia coins, and then you can redeem it for travel within the app. So we have flights, hotels, buses, trains, visas, experiences. Like so, customers come, they do their everyday expenses, whether you use your card or you can use UPI, using a RuPay card, collect more coins, and then redeem that for travel across. The 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 epiphany came from just doing a lot more research and consumer discussions. I would say it's not easy to come up with an idea when you start a company, because you need to find a space that is actually empty, like you're saying, white space, but also it needs to be big. It needs to have a massive market for you to be able to make money out of it. You need to have a profitability. You also need to be good at it. You need to figure out whether it is something that you will succeed in. You also need to figure out if you will enjoy doing it also, right? You may be good at it, but you may not enjoy doing it. There are two different things. So market has to be big, the idea has to be sharp, it has to be money making, you have to be good at it, and you should enjoy doing it. So I did think about various ideas, but this was the idea that I felt I would enjoy. I would like all of these criteria came through, and the market is so massive. And I don't know if people know, but India has only 110 million credit cards. That's roughly zero point zero 0.06, 0.07 cards per customer. If you look at the number of unique Indian customers who have cards, it's some 60, 70 million. That's why that number comes at 6-7%. If you look at any developed market, like if I go to US and see the number of cards per customer there, any guesses what that would be? India is about 0.0607. 7 or 8 is a bit high, but it's half of that roughly. It's about 3.5. Uh, any guesses what China is roughly? Not so high, but it's about zero point 0.8, zero point 0.9. US is very credit focused, but China is zero point 0.8, zero point 0.9. So India is growing and India is developing so fast. India is like, the macro of the economy itself will, take a lot of people into good territory where they'll get, disposable incomes, and they'll, start getting credit cards. India has only 110 million credit cards right now, but India is adding roughly 1.5 to 2 million credit cards per month. And this number will go to those ratios that I was talking about. So over 5-10 years, India will get to like 300, 500 million credit cards. So this will just grow. Even travel is roughly a $100 billion industry. It will go to a $200 billion industry, $300 billion industry. Like if you look at US GDP and all the stuff, travel as a percentage of US GDP is about 2.5%. India is half of it. Indians are just starting to travel, and the number of Indians traveling is exponentially rising around the globe. If you actually see the stats on this, you'll be surprised. In 2010, India was ranked roughly, I would say, 19 in the number of people going abroad. If you rank all the nationalities in terms of people going and visiting various places around the world, India was ranked 19. Okay. Right before COVID, India came to number 12. Okay. So people were thinking that travel only increased after COVID, but that's not true. Even the decade before that, the travel started increasing in a significant way. Now, in the next few years, the number of Indians traveling will be in the top five. Even passports, right? Today, you can get a passport in a day. That's phenomenal, right? Even in various countries around the globe, you will not get a passport within a day, right? So the ability to travel, the connectivity, some of the flights are cheaper than domestic flights these days when you go abroad and all that, right? So just the amount of interest that people have in being able to see the world is so high. We saw an opportunity that we wanted to build. So the Scapia, actually, our mission is to be able to get people to travel so that they can meet new people, they can understand various cultures, form new perspectives, but most importantly, just make delightful memories when one travels. I mean, that's what people do, right? I mean, I'm sure some of you are traveling with your friends while you've been in IIT. It's all about actually forming delightful memories. So that's what we're here to do. So we do it with a card. Yeah. So yeah, that's the macro, and hopefully you understood. What is the open opportunity? Yeah. He has a question. Yeah. I left. I was on a break for 3 months. Yeah. It's very difficult when you're doing something else to be able to put your mind on a very important problem like this. If you're thinking of starting a company and figuring out an idea, you need to have the mind space and give yourself that time and space for it. Yeah. I'll be busy doing other stuff, then it'll always be distracting. Yeah. So yeah, you need to spend quality time on it. I was on a I was on a break for 3-4 months and I just spent time on this. Yeah. I had left by then. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So I think we have a lot of budding entrepreneurs in the house. So if you could sort of walk us through the process of, you already talked about identifying the idea, but what next? How do you approach investors? How do you, get into
Yeah.
that space? Like, I think a lot of them would be really keen to know that, because you've not just built products, but you've built products at scale.
Yeah.
So I think
We're still very small. We're scaling well, but yeah, of course, I've seen massive scale at Flipkart. Um, um, what next is a very fluid question, by the way. Every entrepreneur journey is very different. Every idea is very different, right? If it's a hardware company, it's going to be very different from a software company. If it's going to be very different from today in an AI world, you may be able to put out a prototype in, I don't know, 2 days, right? With Replit and Lovable and all of these kind of platforms. Um, you you need to marry your top down thinking to bottom up work. So the way you need to do that is to spend time with customers and just do a lot of research and do bottom up user research and say whether this product is interesting, what are the insights. Yeah, if you ask somebody a straightforward question, uh, would you like a credit card which gives you travel rewards, people will say yes. Obviously they'll say yes, yeah, yeah, it looks interesting. But the but the real work actually goes into defining what it would be to make it attractive, right? So for the first 3 months in the company, after we formed this idea, all I did was put a one pager, almost like a ad or a brochure, saying this is the card, these are the benefits, and then we would meet 23 to 30 year olds who are interested in travel, and we would just do user research. We'll just do Zoom calls. It was Omicron was going on at that time. COVID was still going on, so we couldn't meet people in person. But we would just do user research and ask, "Would you take this card? This card? Would you take this particular card?" Right? And then they would say, "Yeah, but this feature is not good. This feature is not good. Then drop this feature." Then you should keep refining and iterating and making sure that it comes to a place where you feel happy that this is something that you can craft, and this the customer will really really like. But it's not just about that, right? Customer liking is one thing, but you have to marry that with, now if I put all these features, what will be the P&L statement of the company look like? Will I make money longer term? Will this be profitable? How will we earn money? Then you have to work with banks. Will the bank make money? So then you have to do research with folks in the business side on the bank side, or you have to do research with experts who know this P&L very well and do a mock P&L and see if it makes money. So uh, I'd say a lot of the formative time, you need to spend time on building the product, putting it in the hands of users, doing the research, seeing if it is starting to stick, and doing the surrounding thinking around it. That would be the first primary step. Then it goes into another level of how do you make it work at scale is like a very different ball game. But I would say that would be the first good next step, to make sure that you get the right product crafted in detail that users will crave for. Right? If you build a product that is doesn't have the pull, if people are not craving for it on the internet, then you'll have to spend 10x or 100x the money to be able to put it in people's wallets. But if you build a product that people really are craving for, like I really want this, then your work is half done, because then it's all about making sure you're able to scale and put it in people's hands and do it in a way that customer service is good, invest in the brand and the marketing. So you have to figure out what is it, that idea that will people crave for.
Okay. So,
Yeah. Yeah. If you guys don't mind, just tell me your name and what are you doing in IIT. Like, just give me a flavor for. Yeah. Yeah. Computer science. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
So you're giving lots of rewards, points, everything. So how actually you are making money out of it?
Good question. Um, Look, I don't know how many of you know how a credit card works. How many of you know how a credit card works from a customer side, also from a financial side? Maybe I'll give you a brief. I mean, I don't think it's taught here that much, except maybe the MBA program. Um, when you go tap a card, okay, or scan, uh, the credit card gives you. How many of you have a credit card here? Some add-ons or something? Quite a few. That's good. Okay. I'm surprised at this age group. I actually didn't think many of you will have credit cards, but probably add-ons, or yeah, some of you are probably credit worthy to be able to get it at this age. But typically, when you get a credit card, you're not paying for it immediately from your bank account, right? Yeah, yeah. All of you have the luxury of using UPI, and then when you scan and pay, it immediately goes from your bank account, right? But when you use a credit card, you don't pay for it immediately. You get a credit period, which is usually a 30-day period up to 30, 45 days, where you're given a month to be able to pool all of your spends together. Then you're given a statement saying this is your credit card statement. In this month, in the month of June, these are all the places that you've spent in, and you have to repay that bill. Okay. It's obviously very convenient for the customer, right? Because you are getting, first of all, free credit period, right? You don't have to pay immediately. It doesn't go from your bank account, right? Especially for students and all, they will love it because you can spend next month's stuff now. Yeah. Um, but uh, yeah, you also get, now we're giving you rewards. Not only do you get the credit period, but when you tap, out of 100 rupees, we'll give you, like, 2 rupees back worth of coins that you can just keep accumulating, and then you can do it. Sounds exciting, right? And then we go spend at least 10,000 now on the card. When you go to the airport, you'll get a lounge access, free food. You can, just relax in the lounge. You get exclusive access. When you go abroad, typically you'll have to exchange currency. Then there's a rate associated with currency exchange, but we'll give you a free forex markup, which doesn't charge extra on top of it. Like you're saying, these are exciting features. I mean, you really want this now. And so, right? But the way the P&L works in the credit card space is by the way, um, uh, it's quite a profitable product where when you put money as a bank on this and the bank is lending money to the person who's actually taking the credit card, right? Because for 30 days, 45 days, you're not paying. The shopkeeper or the merchant is getting the money immediately, right? That money is being funded by the bank. The bank is underwriting you saying Sagar is credit worthy. Sagar will definitely repay the bills. So I'll give Sagar a limit of 50,000. Let Sagar spend up to 50. And for the whole month, whatever up to 50,000 he spends, I will make sure that I pay the merchant, right? But the merchant here is getting what? He's getting extra business. He or she is getting extra business because if you didn't have the money, you may not have come and bought that. So because the merchant is getting extra business and the convenience of the user being able to pay so easily versus cash from a bank account and all that, the merchant typically pays, they call something called a MDR, this is the merchant discount rate. So out of 100 rupees, they may pay up to 2 rupees for availing this service. So that machine which is there in the stores, like you usually see a POS machine, right? That POS machine not only validates the transaction and gets people to be able to collect the money, it is also the instrument through which the merchant also pays eventually. So out of 100, he or she will not get back the whole 100. They will get a deducted amount which will then go back to them. That money goes into the entire ecosystem, the banks, the partners like us, we will all make money from that. So every transaction you make gives money. That goes back on rewards. The other thing is everybody doesn't pay back on time. Some people forget, some people may have some personal emergency, like I don't know, like some bad incident may have happened in the family and they need emergency medical funds or something, some unique need may come, right? So because of which people don't pay immediately and will decide to take interest. When they take interest, again, there's money flowing in the system. All that adds up and as company we can make money. Yeah.
How much percentage of people pay, later, after the expiry of the
Depends. I think say different people pay. Some people take EMIs. Some people don't take EMIs but forget to pay the bills. Some people incur late fees. The way to think about this is that let's say 100 rupees is the due to the bank. Out of the 100 rupees that is due, at least 50 to 60 rupees is interest bearing for any bank. Yeah, so it's quite a bit. Yeah,
Scopia has lots of application rejection rate.
yeah.
It is maintained to make demand on the market or something.
No, see, the banks actually are the ones who underwrite and they decide who are the applicants who are credit worthy. For example, in this room, very few people would be credit worthy because you're still earning, like starting to earn, not establish your credit application, your CIBIL is still yet to be formed. Once you have some loans, you've shown the ability to repay, then credit card is actually a little bit more advanced product in terms of a loan.
But I am getting credit card from other, companies, other banks.
See, it depends. If you have a bank account with the bank, then they can see all the data and hence they can underwrite. But if you don't have a bank account with the bank and you have to do everything digitally, then there's lesser data. Then the ability to underwrite and provide that confidence will be lesser. So there's a lot of stuff that comes together in underwriting at scale digitally without verifying a human. If you walk into the branch and getting a card is very different from doing it online. Yeah. Yeah.
So we have like a mixed bunch of students here, like from first year students to I can see a couple of second year students as well, and some people who are sitting for placement. I've been in all of these phases, right? So one question that we had was that if you were sitting in the shoes of a final year student in this hall today about to face placement, since you've been on both sides of the table, right? So what would you be thinking differently compared to when you graduated?
When we graduated, we didn't have much opportunities, and yeah, I would say that, I mean, this is almost 23, 24 years ago, right? Back then, there were only 2, 3 types of opportunities we had. First is go abroad and do a master's or research was one of the biggest options in IIT Madras actually at that time. Uh, because the number of engineering jobs in India were very low. The only jobs that we used to have where people used to come to campus was either IT, and many of the folks in, you know, the campus were not that keen on getting into IT. Some people were passionate about it, they went, but that's not something that people were very keen on. The other jobs were business jobs, but they used to, like, Unilever or ITC used to come, they'll take 2 people. I don't know. These days it's probably higher or similar numbers. I don't know. So most of us actually would end up going abroad. So I don't think the world has completely changed, right? I would say just go after whatever you're passionate about. India has so much opportunity now, so much opportunity. And a couple of my friends, by the way, classmates of mine, uh, they are now lawyers. They IIT Madras engineers. Okay, they went abroad. Then they realized that their passion was law. Then they did a law degree. One of them, was working as a lawyer for Apple Siri. Right, one because they can marry technology now, having been an engineer, but also do law. Right, one of them is a patent lawyer. Right, so a bunch of my classmates are professors. Some of them, I got into business side of things. I was in Flipkart. My father used to joke that you've studied so much in IIT, but you're selling books and bed sheets in the country, right? But it really doesn't matter what you do. What really matters is, are you going to enjoy it? Are you going to like it? Are you going to be passionate about it? Are you going to give your heart and soul that you'll be one of the best at it? Right? So go after that. Right? Some of you may hate engineering and you're like, what? After studying JE and all, I mean, this is probably not what I want to do. That's fine. Right? But figure out what that passion is. I would say the first couple of jobs or the first job is all about exploration. Right? In fact, do as many internships as possible in the first, second, third year and all that stuff so that you get a flavor for what the job could look like. Right? But even internship is an internship. Okay. Generally in companies, people say the hierarchy is CEOs, interns, and then rest of the organization. Because they let you have fun. They're like, you go do whatever you want. We know that you're only there for 2 months. So you'll not get a real flavor for the job, but you'll at least get a taste of it. But your first job, go for whatever you think you will enjoy, but that may not be the truth. Okay, so once you get in, you'll be like, okay, this is what work is for the first 2 years or 3 years. Then you will know, okay, fine. Maybe I'm not so interested in this, or maybe I'm actually very interested in this, right? I want to build a career in this. So then maybe you want to do a master's after that in that, or go do a PhD in that, or you may be like, I want to go into the business side of things, so let me go do an MBA. So be open, go explore. If I were you, I'll think about the next 5 years after graduation as just time for exploration. Do as many things that you think you'll enjoy and just get to learn and earn a living, but play around a bit. Yeah, but don't jump around too much that you'll be seen as unstable from a company perspective. But try to have that exploration. You'll really find yourself in that journey, right? And see what you might be passionate about.
So,
Yeah.
So I was asking, where will you implement artificial intelligence in Scapia?
There's a lot that you can do in artificial intelligence in Scapia.
So are you working on it, or
we have a bunch of things that are going on. First of all, the whole team is using AI like anything. I mean, I don't know how many of you are using AI. Hopefully, you're not using it to write your exams and submitting papers. But I think these days you can catch also what is written by AI, and there are also AI tools to catch AI written papers. I think, good learning. Obviously, I would have loved, when I was in my masters, or when I was writing my BTech thesis, if I had an AI tool, my life would have been half easy. But my teams are using AI left, right, and center for coding, for design, for marketing, for summarizing research reports on the business side, to do competitive intelligence. Uh, like pretty much any work that they're doing right now, they use AI as a companion, as a co-worker. Think of them as a colleague. In addition, on the customer side, right now, for example, on the calls that we get, as soon as a call is completed, I can sit at home and see the entire transcript of what the customer said, what the agent said. I can see a score and a qualitative review of whether the agent performed well. Was the customer fully satisfied or not? I mean, who goes and you do a lot of AI right now and we have this, by the way. We have this tool right now currently running, which can do this, right? In our hotels search, we have a hotels platform where customers can book hotels. We have a pilot going on where you can search for hotels much better by typing what you want rather than searching for a city or a hotel name. I'm just making it up, but let's say beach facing rooms in Goa, but with a swimming pool inside the hotel. Now try searching this anywhere, very hard. But because the catalog is available with all the data, right, to be able to tokenize all of that stuff and use some open source models and then being able to build your own search on some of the stuff is a very fantastic problem. It's not easy, by the way. It'll take a lot of tuning and evals and all that stuff and trying out various models, but that's the level of AI that is now happening in various companies. Yeah. So like I came from Bangalore this morning. I don't need to go and search for a particular hotel, go through 4 steps. I should just be able to talk through it, right? And then say, can you book a flight for me from Bangalore to Chennai, 8 a.m. My preferred airline is Air India. If Air India is not available at around 8 a.m., book me on Indigo. I prefer an aisle seat. I don't need a meal. Book. It should be like this. That's what it used to be 30-40 years ago, right? With a travel agent, you would say ki bas book kar lo mere liye. Right? But now with AI, you can do this. I don't think you'll have screens in 5 years where you're like, tapping and figuring out. That's the revolution that will happen. It's not perfect yet, but you have to invest in these things to make sure things happen. So in the financial world, right? Why should you go read a statement of 5 pages? You should get a summary with AI saying, this is your financial statement, roughly, this is how much you spent. By the way, it looks like this month you spent 4,000 rupees extra on Swiggy. Is it a fraud or did you really spend 4,000? That is insightful, no? You should be able to do that kind of stuff. So you can imagine AI in everything. It will come down to your creativity on how much you can imagine in AI. Yeah. Hi. Yeah, it's probably not working. You might have to be louder for the room. Yeah.
Sir, I passed in 2020.
Okay.
Okay. It was Corona time.
Yeah.
So there were no jobs.
Okay.
So then I started my entrepreneurship job.
Okay. Great.
Okay. At that time, I didn't even thought about the money part of it. Hello?
Yeah.
So I just started with trading.
Trading. Okay.
Money was needed. It is very
Yeah.
necessary at that time.
Yeah.
So I started trading with bike stands.
Okay.
Then
Bike stands.
bike,
Okay.
motorcycle,
As a
splendor.
As a seller.
As a I purchase from manufacturer.
Okay.
He gives me credit. I sell it on cash. Then I took my profit out and then give the money to the
Bike stand as in like the bicycle parking.
motorcycle bikes.
Okay. The stand, the
Yeah.
part. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Then I shifted to swing arm.
To?
Swing arm. It is the rear wheel is kept by the swing arm.
Okay.
Okay. Then second Corona came.
Okay.
At that time, the businesses were going very low. So I left that. Then I started manufacturing, like slowly, like for getting the only the small one process I started with, only the assembling part of it. What I started was the tilting mechanism. Like the chair you were sitting is, it has a mechanism in it.
Understood.
And then I slowly, like uh, one by one process, I installed the whole manufacturing facility. And I didn't even started with any single rupee.
Very good. Even better.
Okay. So then actually I get bored.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like last year I
Is that
did,
why you're here now?
yeah. Last year I did 5 CRs of business,
Okay.
yearly. Then I get bored. Like I don't, the first 2 3 years where I was doing job, or like I was doing everything in my,
Are you studying here? Are you right now here studying?
yeah.
Okay. What's your question?
My question is, sir, that I get bored because of, like, I have traveled from this side of table to this side of table, and like managing business was not my part of thing. It is very time taking actually. Like you give someone an order, and they took 2 days 3 days, you just have to sit and wait. Okay, now what should we do? So
I'm still waiting for your question. Yeah.
okay, that's the part of the story. So I thought I will go to the MTech randomly.
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 Randomly you wrote gate and
Yeah, randomly.
randomly got into IIT Madras.
Yeah,
And
randomly. No, like I got 3 to 6 rank in the ME gate, and now I am thinking to grow the value chain. Like I am
Great.
only manufacturing sheet
Are you
metal
doing
parts.
MTech in mechanical?
Yeah, design engineering.
Very good. Yeah. So yeah, go backward in the value chain and make more money. Yeah.
No, like AI part of thing maybe. So how will a mechanical engineer can like go in AI or something more?
Oh, you don't want to do the factory stuff. No mechanical stuff. Yeah.
No, it is running. I have planned for more than 5 years.
We can take it offline. This will be a longer conversation, but I would say,
Okay,
look,
sir.
figure out what you're passionate about. If you're bored with your current business, then I don't know, sell it or let it run on its own, whatever. But if you're keen on actually using AI in that business, I'm sure there are a lot of opportunities. There is going to be AI in manufacturing. If you know manufacturing, you already have a business, you may be able to start putting AI there. You can use that as a prototype and then take it to the world from there. You have to figure out, I mean, it's like saying, I'm an electrical engineer. Now, where do I use electrical engineering? You can use it everywhere. Like, I mean, you can use it in LED lights. I can use it in computers. I can use it in transmitting signals from making a 3G phone. I can do high voltage stuff where I'm transmitting 10,000 volts of electricity from one part of the world to another part of the world. Or I can transmit internet signals over deep sea cables. You need to figure out which part of AI, where will you play the game, how deep do you want to go, and where is your strength, and go play that game. Like if you like manufacturing and you want to go do AI in manufacturing, I'm sure there'll be hundreds of opportunities. You just need to put your mind to it where you think you'll not get bored. Yeah, so figure that out. Yeah, good question. See, I think obviously follow your heart in terms of what is happening in your life, right? But also give yourself a little bit of time, right? uh, Sometimes people uh, don't give themselves that time and then start taking harsh decisions. It's like you come to IIT first in the hostel. The first week you'll probably be very excited, right? But the second month you'll probably be homesick a little bit, right? But doesn't mean you leave your IIT degree and go home, no, right? you will give yourself time to settle in. Then the second year, you'll start to have a lot of fun, right? You're like, oh, I have so many friends. I don't want to go home now, right? Then you'll start to figure out your balance, and during the 4 years, you'll figure out how you'll enjoy both, and you'll also give yourself some time to go home. You'll make some friends here. Some friends you'll go even deeper. But why? Because you committed yourself to a 4-year program where you've gone through a tough exercise and then got in. There's some skin in the game, right? Now, when it comes to a corporate job, there's no exam like this that will take you there, and there's no commitment, and there's no brand hanging over you where, what if I leave this, right? Your ability to switch will be very, very high. When your ability to switch is very, very high, it can lead to you taking some loose decisions. So you'll have to be very careful on this decision, because now it's parents and all the stuff will start influencing you less. At college time, school to college and all, parents are still a bit more careful because they are still responsible for some of the stuff. But once you become, a bit older, then it's your own decisions. So you'll have to weigh your pros and cons very carefully as you figure out the jobs and when to switch, when not to switch. I would say a few things all have to come together for it to work well in a company. The role, and whether you're learning a lot, whether you're working with really good people and you're having fun with those people, right? Whether the culture is good, right? And these two matter a lot more than anything in life in the beginning. Then later on, it's about rewards and title and money and all of that stuff. But in the beginning, optimize for learning, optimize for the people that you'll work with, because they'll also help you learn. You'll also have a lot of fun, but don't take harsh decisions like, oh, I've come here 1 week, I'm not enjoying this. But give yourself a little bit of time, go through the ups and downs a little bit, then you'll like it. And it's okay to do it once or twice to switch. But if you're switching every year, then companies will look at it and say, are you clear in your head what you want to do? It's not about, all companies are good in their own way, but you need to figure out the match for yourself. But once or twice exploration is okay. But if you're doing it every year for like 5 years, people start questioning you. You're not thinking enough before you're jumping. You're not taking the leap after being thoughtful. You're taking the leap first, and then after you're swimming, you're figuring out, oh, this is not for me, and then getting out. So companies will be a little bit more, I would say, forgiving in the first few years, but later on, people start asking hard questions. Why aren't you in the same place for a bit longer? What are you looking for in life? What will you enjoy? So be more thoughtful. Yeah. But but give yourself that freedom, but balance it out with patience. Yeah.
Okay. So, being an alumni yourself, I had a question because I think Elevation, we have got a few alums there as an
Yeah. My current investor and board member is
is an alum.
is an alum. Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
first job, you had an alum, So, uh, how have you been seeing like alums across the various phases of your life? How have you managed to interact with them? How are you engaging with them? How do you want to engage with the people here today as an alum yourself?
See, as you go through life transitions, some of your networks will start playing a role, right? By the way, networks will come from any place. It could be your school buddy, and some of your school buddies will be there with you throughout your life. Okay, one of my school buddies, uh, he and I were IIT classmates actually. Okay, uh, I've known him for now, I don't know, 35 years. I had breakfast with him this morning. He's in Chennai. Right? I flew in early because I wanted to just meet him and spend some time with him. Now, some of these relationships go a very, very long way, right? And these networks will play out in a very different way. When I was very bored at McKinsey and I wanted to do something different, I called him and I spoke to him and I said, I'm quite bored here and I think I want to change. I'm looking for consumer internet in India. He told me one of my friends just got into Flipkart and they're looking for good people. Do you want to just talk to him? And that's how I got into Flipkart, right? So you never know. Sometimes these networks will play in a very interesting way where you just speak to them about what you're looking for. You may get something out of this. Of course, it's not like you'll only keep getting from others. You'll also have to give for you to get something. It works on a paid forward model. Um, But your networks will come from various places, but it will only reap benefits if you invest time and effort. I had a choice whether to fly in early and have breakfast with my friend or come directly here. But you have to spend that time. If you spend the time is only when relationships grow, right? So it could come from your school, it could come from your college, it could come from your first companies, it could come from, let's say, you're part of a cricket club and you are a cricket player, and every weekend while at IIT or while in your first job for the next 10 years, you may be playing cricket with a bunch of people every weekend. Those people you will be friends with much deeper, more than some of your IIT classmates. They may be more helpful to you in your network. Typically in life, and I've seen this now across a few companies and few colleges, there'll be 4 or 5 people who you will be very deep in terms of the relationship, and those will be some of your best buddies. I mean, you'll see it to your 4 years also. There'll be some people who will be very, very close. All those come from shared experiences. Shared experiences of hanging out together, shared experiences of taking classes together, shared experiences of playing a sport together, shared experiences of traveling together. So if you want to develop a network, try to invest in a lot of shared experiences in your life. That will help you. And whenever you're going through life experiences where you need help, don't be ashamed in terms of asking for help. Yeah. Yeah. It's a deep question. Uh, but it's something that you need to do a little bit, without shame. Like, if let's say you need help in finding a job in, I'm just making it up, let's say Microsoft. Okay. Then go find all the IIT Madras alumni in Microsoft, shoot them a LinkedIn. Like, just say, hey, I'm Anil, I'm just graduating now, I'm looking for advice. Don't start off with, I need a job. Yeah. That's the worst way to network, right? Figure out how to engage with the alum. Say you might need some help. I'm thinking through this life situation, I don't know, and I'm looking for help. You seem to be working in Microsoft. I'm thinking of a career in this kind of companies, not just Microsoft, but I would love to talk about this and see what are the companies, everything could be helpful, what kind of jobs could be helpful. People are very helpful, and when you are going to when you ask people for advice and help, people generally will say yes. Okay, everybody may not reply because they're probably, many of them may be busy and all the stuff, but you shoot 5, 10 cold emails, write it nicely with ChatGPT, that is also much easier. You will get a few replies, right? And engage them, talk, be prepared, don't go unprepared. Use your network very wisely. IIT Madras is one of the best alumni all over the world, in various industries you'll find across, right? And you will develop your network even more. Just leverage it very in a smart way. Be prepared, and do it in a good way. And the most important thing is pay it forward. Okay. Tomorrow, when you are an alum, somebody else will reach out. You should be helping them. And it happens even in college. Right? I remember when I was in my fourth year, I used to reach out to seniors in universities and get advice on which professors are hiring for research assistants and which are not. Like I used to, when you're in the third year, obviously you ask the fourth year student, how do you start thinking about GRE, TOEFL, all the stuff. Every year, I mean, you need to talk to people who have gone through these and who can give you advice. Yeah.
Okay, so we are almost at the fag end of
Yeah.
the session today. I thought you would like to talk about the leap year program. And that's
It's
something special that you're building at
we
Scapia.
just launched, I don't know if you guys heard, but we just launched something called Scapia Leap Year. We are sponsoring 2 people around the world for an entire year, and you have to apply to that as to why you want to go traveling for an entire year. And we'll send those 2 people to 4 continents for 4 quarters, 3 months in each continent. And unfortunately, the applications for that ended about 15 days ago. And we've shortlisted 10 people, and we're going to announce the winners in a few days, 27th, so in a week. But it's something that we wanted to do because we wanted two people to just have fun and just travel and meet people around the globe. Yeah, some of you could have applied. Yeah.
So, because we've been talking about so many different aspects, some serious things, I thought we could close on a lighter note. So, is there a mess food that you still miss or
No.
otherwise?
Definitely no. uh, no. Is that thing still exist? That RPG or something? It used to be called RPG near the
Shopping complex?
no next to the workshop. There used to be a canteen. Yeah, I know that now you have the central mess and all this stuff. Before, each of the hostels used to have the mess, so we used to. Uh, but near the workshop, there used to be a restaurant. So generally, after second or third year, all the folks would just ditch the hostel mess and get the dosa and all the stuff. That uttapam was pretty decent actually. Yeah, if yeah, I would go back to that for comfort food. Um, I would remember, like, I grew up here in Chennai, but I remember all the folks who were not from Chennai, anywhere from the north and all the stuff, would find the rotis in the hostels, very difficult to eat. And then they would figure out ways to get rotis from everywhere else and all that stuff. But at least the rice and all the stuff used to be good at that time. But I mean, of course, not something that I would miss. Yeah, I'll be honest. Yeah, nothing against IIT, but it's not something I would miss. Yeah.
Okay, so one travel destination on your Scapia bucket list right now.
On my bucket list, Africa is on my bucket list. I'm actually going there in 8-9 days. I've been meaning to do this for 20 years. I didn't have the money at that time. Then I didn't have the time. But I think I've realized now that there is no right time for any of this stuff. And I'm going to Tanzania in about 8-9 days to watch the Serengeti migration. Yeah. So it'll be a unique experience. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Okay. So, thank you so much for being here with us today. And I would like to invite Professor Satyan to felicitate Anil with our token of appreciation.
Thank you so much for having me. It's just great to be on campus. Yeah, I've brought a lot of nostalgic feelings.